I think seeing is really an illusion, and an illusion just stepped on my foot.
Hello, folks, to a very special segment of The Beef, and I'm here with a independent filmmaker, artiste of sorts, from the UK, Mr. Fabrizio Federico, if I pronounced that correctly. I'm only American, I can't help it. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, mate. Hello, America.
Yeah, I grew up in the go-go 90s of the U.S. to where all these independent guys were coming out, your Linklaters and your Kevin Smiths and shit like that. But this guy, he's kind of Herschel Gordon Lewising, it seems like to me, from what I've seen in his preview, the UK, just doing some great guerrilla filmmaking, and I'm looking forward to hearing some insight about, how you get into this kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I used to live in America, and I got deported back in 2006, and I was a musician over there. But when I came to UK, I'm like, I'm going to start over again. I'm going to start from scratch. So I decided to become a filmmaker. I'm a big, massive film buff, like really like weird shit. A lot of Dennis Hopper films and stuff like that, David Lynch and Kevin Smith. All those 90s guys. It was such a golden era, wasn't it? Independent 90s cinema, American cinema.
Yeah, it was really something, It felt like something anyway. Now, you hear that one of the guys that got that ball rolling has been feeling out a lot of other people too. So that's we won't get into Mr. Weinstein though. We'll leave that one alone. But continue, sir.
Yeah, well, you guys have got the energy. You've got that independent, and in England, the independent cinema scene's it's more stagnated. There's a lot of snobs and like rich kids, that type of shit. But in America, as long as you've got a message, it doesn't really matter what your background is. Over here, it's a bit like you gotta be in contact with the Queen. You gotta have plums in your mouth, as they say in the UK. If it's not a Hugh Grant movie, it doesn't really get into the cinemas as easily in the UK. But in America, anything goes. As long as it's got an energy, and I love that. I really miss that about America. So,
what made you want to become a filmmaker?
I just love meeting strange people and getting into adventures, and being a filmmaker. What better come on line and pick up line is there? You go up to a girl on the street and you say, "I'm a filmmaker." It's perfect. You just look for people that have a certain vibe or star quality. They don't have to be actors. You see street superstars everywhere during the day, and go up to them, find out about their life. If it's interesting, you say you want to make a movie, and you just make it on your mobile phone. Just shoot it on your mobile phone or any camera that you got in your pocket, and then just put it on YouTube and give it away. Like show the whole world your message. I love it. It's a really important time to be around and to be alive in the fucking 21st century. You can't be easier for an independent filmmaker.
Well, you could make a whole film on your iPhone, and cut it on any program you could find out there. Really,
yeah.
This is what they tell me anyway. I'm no good at video editing or anything, but that's what they tell me.
Oh, I learned everything. I got my first Adobe Premiere Pro from a bootleg, so I just put that in my shitty Dell computer and started learning from scratch. Just went on YouTube, saw some classes, and you just got to have balls, when you first get into it. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you just keep doing it until, you make enough mistakes. There's no more mistakes to do. And, you'll have your own style. That's what's so great. Not studying cinema, just doing it from scratch. You find your own voice right away. It's amazing.
Well, there's a lot of guys out here that people, would call famous, like Tarantino and Rob Zombie. Yeah. And I'm one of those people who would call them a plagiarist because you can watch their films and you can say, hey, these are guys who like movies that happen to make homages to movies that they like, and that's fine, but you independent guys who don't really have a voice in the mainstream like these guys. I mean, Tarantino came right out of the gate with Reservoir Dogs, and it got international acclaim.
Yeah.
I guess it's all about who you know, I guess. But not that I'm hating Reservoir Dogs at all. It's still a great film today. It's just it seems
genre
like
film, isn't it? It's a genre film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it. I love gangster movies. I fucking grew up on gangster movies. You know, I got my name from The Godfather, you know, the first Godfather.
Yeah.
So I love that. But I like to use real people, you know, I like to incorporate real people into my movies. And it's a bit tough when you don't have actors to make it a genre film, you know what I mean? Because nothing's nothing's scripted, everything's improvised, anything can fucking happen. I mean, but once it's finished, you can kind of sell it this way or sell it that way. But while you're in the middle of it, a film can take up to 10 years. I mean, look at fucking Terry Gilliam. He has all sorts of problems making his movies, doesn't he?
He's been trying to kick around that Man of La Mancha film for forever. That Don Quixote joint.
Oh, he's got to finish that. He'll regret it if he never finishes it.
Yes.
Poor bastard, though. He's had so many actors die on him. It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty god awful. But I admire you. You know, just getting your balls out there, out in the streets, and you know, mingling with the people, which isn't always an easy thing to do. You know, just mingling with the people and seeing what they're doing, what the rest of the world's up to. Because people, especially here, are so passive to where they'll glass at somebody if they don't look right. They'll just keep on walking the other way. And
Yeah, yeah, it's a weird time, isn't it? There's so much choice. You know, it's like block. If I don't like you, block. You know, it's a bit like that, isn't it? You know, you can just block people so out of your life so easily these days. What can you do? Everyone's got their opinions, haven't they? You know, if they block you, so what? You know, there's always more people around, isn't there?
oh, for sure, there's an audience for everything. I've always said, and
Hmm.
I'm usually that audience that watches the really, you know, stuff that everybody else hates, which is fine, you know.
Yeah. Like the word, if the reviews, if it's a bad review, I want to watch it. I think if it's people hate it, there must be something to it. You know, I mean, everybody in Loon hates each other now. Everyone's blocked one another on Facebook. You know, all the actors. You know, everybody fell out during that movie, but. We did capture something, you know. I basically caught a really dysfunctional family. Charlie was on medication. I don't know what the fuck type of medication he was on. I never even bothered to ask him in the year that we were filming. Fucking cousin was playing like, you know, pussy teasing games with him, and I mean he used to steal for her. You know, he'd do anything for her. He'd even kill for her. You know, he was a bit like, I don't want to say lapdog, but he was definitely a slave throughout, and there's fucking power struggle, big time power struggle making this movie. Days were getting cancelled left, right, and centre. We were arguing all the time. Then the fucking family would get in on it. Oh, it was a nightmare to make this movie. So, out of all the films I've made, this has been the toughest one.
Yeah, tell us about this new movie you're working on, Loon. Is it finished or
Yeah, it's finished. It's completely edited altogether, so it's going to be released on Halloween. Be on YouTube for free. Be on my website, so it's, you know, it's ready to go. I feel good. I'm so fucking glad that it's over.
you know, with the struggle and everything? What's the film all about? Just to let the folks know if they want to check it out.
Well, it's based on it's called a folie à deux relationship, where it's basically when two people go crazy together. So some examples are like Bonnie and Clyde, um, serial killers like Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. You know, it takes two people to tango. You know, that whole quote. It's when two people go crazy together and they push one another to the point where they end up breaking the law, or someone dies, or some tragedy happens, and it takes two people. You know, it's like two people that never should meet. I guess Sid and Nancy are another example. Kurt and Courtney, that type of relationship, and I didn't know what I was going to capture, but this relationship between Charlie and Georgia started to come out, and I spotted it. And someone's like, "Yeah, this is a folie à deux relationship, and it's very dangerous." And yeah, and you'll see what happens at the end of the movie, and it's all real.
It's all like documentary style in a way, like docudrama.
Yeah, it's a weird mishmash. I mean, it's a documentary, but they're not talking to camera. You know, they're just being themselves, and I'm very good at kind of disappearing and making people feel comfortable to the point where they don't even realize that the camera's there anymore, and they're just themselves. And all you have to do is get to I don't know, like I won't put them with an actor, but I'll be like, oh, invite one of your friends down today to be in the film, and after a while they're just talking to one another, and their rapport comes across on screen or with their family, because his parents, his mother is in the movie, and she's a twin, which is really cool. So her twin lives right next door to her, so yeah, twins always used to freak me out as a kid. So seeing this twin relationship, and they're both into serial killers as well. They're just a very weird family. Such a fucking god. I had some good times, but I had a lot of bad times. So I don't really want to get connected with them again. Unfortunately, just let them do their thing and I'll do my thing.
So, this other film you told me to look at the trailer for, Pregnant, is it filmed the same way? He had the same kind of,
Pregnant's more of a drug movie. So that was shot out in the desert. So I went to Spain and I joined this cult out in the Spanish desert. So it's a bit like being with Charles Manson. So I was out there for a bit filming in the desert. So they were big into conspiracy theories. So I was almost getting brainwashed the whole time I was there. They were showing us loads of like Illuminati DVDs and documentaries. So it's Pregnant's about internet addiction, which is what the 21st century is about. Everyone's addicted to technology now. Everyone's addicted to Facebook, to Twitter. What's his name? Andy Warhol said 15 minutes of fame. Now I think we're down to everyone, will be famous for 3 minutes. It's gotten to that stage, I think. And, Pregnant's about internet addiction, celebrity addiction.
Yeah, whether you want to admit to it or not, we all bring our toilets, our phones to the toilet, and we see what's going on. It's an addiction, but you not to really look at yourself, say, "Yep, I need this, not needed to live, but needed to I need to consume information and clickbait and stuff like that."
Yeah, I mean, I'm addicted to it as well. That's why I can talk about it. I'm addicted. I've always got my fucking phone in my hand. But the reason this came out was when I went to this cult, we weren't allowed to use our cell phones for a week, and I was born in 83, so I kind of know what it's like when cell phones and the internet didn't exist, so, I'm sure you are as well. I mean, you remember how it was, before all this technology. So, but all these children, I mean, I've got a nephew, and he's always got he's got a better phone than I do, and he's always got it in his hand, and you should see, he doesn't know how to read or write, but you should see how he maneuvers the phone. It's almost like he's a professional, the way he goes through websites, and it's amazing, but it's very scary at the same time. I don't know how it's going to affect society by the end of the century.
Yeah, it's a society of watchers. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, You got to have stuff to, you're as independent as they come, and you got to have people to consume your product. At least you want them to. If I get those people out there listening, and they're listening on the regular, I feel pretty good about it. So.
Yeah, I know, it gives you a purpose. Everyone's got a platform, which is incredible. That's what's so great about the 21st century. But it's the film's a warning on, if spiritually you won't be able to grow spiritually being on the internet. Put it like that. I don't think that's possible. I think you have to do that with one-on-one, human touch. You have to be in the moment more. I mean, a good example is when people go to a concert. They go to a gig and everyone's filming the concert. They're filming the video screens at the side of the stage instead of actually watching the fucking concert. I mean, there's something to that. What about moshing? Moshing is going out of fashion. You barely ever see anyone moshing. I went to a Metallica gig and nobody was moshing. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah, politics change. They say they spend a lot of money to go to this show, and I guess they don't want to knock each other around, I guess. Or depending on where they're at, they might get shut down. And
yeah, I guess so. Do you think people are getting more laid back then?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can't force myself to be too laid back yet. I'm not old. I've still got rage and passion and energy, and I'm not prepared to be too laid back yet. I don't know.
Well,
what do you think about that?
The problem is I'm that laid back guy at the concert, who doesn't want to get the shit, but
Yeah.
Lucky for us in Chicagoland here, we have a lot of small venues where this still exists, and
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I like combat. Maybe it's the Italian in me. Who knows?
that's okay. You know, I got a little Italian in me too. We're an emotional people, so
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I didn't know you were Italian. No way.
I'm slightly about like a quarter Italian on my grandmother's side, so.
Yeah. Oh, so you know what it's like. They argue for fun, don't they, Italians? You know, it's
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're really great at it.
it's a hobby.
It is. It's like a lifestyle, really.
Mm. It's good because you get things off your chest. Then you feel a lot better after once you yell and tell someone what's pissing you off or what you love about them. Just keep the relationship going, I guess.
Or you're just really tired.
And what arguing?
Yeah. from the arguing, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends what you're arguing about. If it's worth arguing about, I guess. Fucking hell, I can't argue about everything, but cinema is definitely something that I'm happy to fight for and argue.
Definitely, that's definitely an arguable thing, especially in our communities and our circles, and where some folks like movies, and I'm one of those people who notoriously, not talk stuff about like classic horror films that people like, but I find something wrong with certain films that people adore, and they condemn me for it, and I'm fine with that. That's just how I feel. How can Mrs. Voorhees lift all those kids up and hang them on the wall? She's like 70 years old.
You nitpick them.
She had the mother's strength, I guess.
It's good to have a bit of controversy, though, isn't it? I mean, this loon's getting a lot of people are getting rallied up about it because the main characters are racist, they're homophobic. I mean, they're just evil.
Well, they're not they're not actors though. They're just real people who you've happened to capture on film.
They're teenagers. I mean, they're 17, 18-year-olds, and it's kind of how it is when you don't give a fuck. You'll say anything at that age, won't you? Just get a reaction.
I had no direction at 19, 18 years old as far as that stuff goes. You just talk about stuff, and it all depends on who you're with too. What you talk about, and we had talked about this before about how back in the day, how casually the word fag was thrown around. They're not referring to a cigarette as a homosexual.
Oh, yeah. I remember all the time people fucking calling their teachers that as well.
It was so casual back in the day. And I'm not saying it's the right thing to say now. It's just everything's so, I'd say, sensitive with everybody. And you kind of got to watch what you say. And
oh, you don't though. I mean, God, just because someone's politically correct doesn't mean you have to. I mean, if it's a problem, it's your problem. Like, you're making it a problem. It's just a word. It's a subject. These subjects aren't new. I mean, homophobia and racism it's not a new subject, is it? And they're acting like it is just because they've finally caught on to it. Doesn't mean that the world stops with them. It's a bit selfish, don't you think, to be that overprotective about offending people?
That's the millennials, man. They'll get you every time.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they complain, but who gives a fuck? Let them complain. Let them get it off their chest, and so what? I mean, it's almost like they think they're gonna have someone arrested over it. That the police are gonna arrest you for having this train of thought. What's that film that Tom Cruise did? Oh, back with Colin Farrell back in the day, Insider.
I think that's one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you think it means you're gonna do it, so they arrest you before you've done it. That type of thought.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. But see, once you say it, it has to be true, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, I don't know. This millennium generation is very funny to me. I don't know. I really can't figure them out. All right, I offend you. So what does that mean?
I don't know, man. Yeah, they have their feelings about things, and especially about their children and overprotecting their children, and Yeah, I have a theory about kids. You know, everything's now is elbow pads and helmets. You know,
Mm.
how they gonna know they can feel pain if they don't fall down and scrape their knees every once in a while? You know,
Yeah, yeah. So it's a pussy generation. I've been calling them snowflakes.
that's a good word. I've ever used that.
I'm really surprised what you're telling me about America, because I was last there in 2006, and it's like the fucking Wild West, you know. Everybody said what was on their mind, and that was what was great about America. Maybe that's what's going to happen with Donald Trump in power. Slowly, that's going to change.
Well, it's the same here as it is where you are. You were talking about your nephew on the phone all the time. But my cousin has a child who's 8 years old, and this kid is. I don't want to call an 8-year-old child an asshole, but he kind of is because
Yeah,
they sheltered him so bad, and like I said, he's constantly looking at a screen. You know, so
yeah,
he doesn't interact with people, so he's just like a little smug little asshole, and he's 8 years old, and
mm,
that scares the fuck out of me that he's 8 years old and he's already this way. Because what's gonna
yeah.
happen when he gets like 13, and you know that kid down the street isn't gonna be humored by this and just gonna beat the shit out of him because he doesn't feel his vibe. He won't know what to
Mm.
do. You know.
Oh God, they're completely lost. I mean, if you really want to freak someone out, take their phone off them. Like, take their phone out their hand. You should see the reaction you get. It's like a wild animal. You know, it's like you've took their heroin off them. You
Yeah.
know, it's that type of thing. But I've noticed a lot of people, well, younger kids as well, teenagers and 20-year-olds, are really uncomfortable if you look them directly in the eye. You know, they're very bad at eye contact.
Because they're always looking down. That's why.
Yeah, that's a terrible fucking posture. Mm,
They're always looking down, man. You'd be looking forward. That's a big part with probably both of our countries is,
yeah,
these kids and like you mentioned, people were complaining about your film Loon, which I hope you guys all check out on Halloween when it comes out, and about not like the realness of the people, but the way they talk is just this is just what you capture. This is real people just
yeah.
not necessarily acting for the camera, but they may be aware the camera's there, or at the same time they're just having regular conversations that they would normally have on a Tuesday, but just you happen to capture that on film.
I know, yeah. It's like you guys talk about this, you know, it's a bit self-righteous that everyone's pretending that they're all PC all the time. It's like they're not, you know. It's not normal to be politically correct all the time. And that's what's so great about Charlie, you know. Charlie didn't really go on the internet, and he didn't really go on his I don't even think he's on Facebook. So he was almost like a throwback to like the 90s, but you know, he's a teenager now, so he was constantly getting into trouble, but at least he was living, you know. At least he had a fucking life, you know. He wasn't in the interweb, only living in there. He was, you know, he's very in touch with what's happening, and you know, he was very straightforward. You know, I love that about him. But he was his own worst enemy. At the same time, you know, a lot of people do that. They self-sabotage themselves. I do that as well myself. But he was doing it on a big fucking scale, where you know he was going to end up killing someone eventually. And who fucking knows? He's probably in jail right now. You know, he might even be dead for all I know.
Mm. So what I'm here for this conversation is, don't go psycho, but let your kids go play outside for a while. They might have a better look on life when they get older. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till late. I mean, I'm 34 now. I'm gonna wait till I'm in my 40s to have kids.
Ain't nothing wrong
You
with
know,
that, man. Nothing wrong with that at all.
no, I'm gonna wait a bit longer. You know, I want to at least be able to teach them something.
And that's important, you know. People have people here, and I'm sure out there too, have kids way too young. Not all people who have kids young are unprepared, but most of them are, and they weren't taught ways. A lot of them are
Hmm.
yeah, either didn't have a father in their life, so they don't have a direction, to teach their children, what they need to know, and that's something, and just,
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed a lot of parents seem to be petrified of their kids. You know, like scared to even tell them off, because there's been some instances over here in schools where you know the teacher will tell a student off, and the student will accuse the teacher of sexual harassment, all these lies, or just discipline. I mean, that's what a teacher's there for, is to discipline the fucking kids, because the parents aren't obviously doing it. But, they'll get sued. I think people are really scared about getting sued these days. You haven't broken any law. You're not going to lose, you're not going to go to jail or anything like that. Just chill the fuck out, people.
Yeah, my buddy, he's a teacher. He just got let go over some assignment he gave out that it was some kind of something with the five senses, and I'm not going to go deep into it, but the mother caught wind of this assignment, and she thought that he was making sexual advances towards her daughter, but it was the same assignment for like 200 students. So apparently he's making sexual advances towards all those students as well, which is untrue. But he lost his job basically over it, and it was a big old mess. And that just adds to the oversensitivity of these freaking millennials and all their just coddling these kids.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I kind of like about Donald Trump. I like the fact that he's got a lot of bad qualities, but he does have a lot of good qualities at the same time. I like the fact that he speaks his mind, that he's not afraid to offend. I think that's one of the bad things about the whole Obama presidency, that, Obama did have a lot to do with this whole PC culture. His presidency kind of created it, I feel. So, in a few more years, God knows what Donald Trump's going to do. I mean, this whole North Korea thing's a right fucking mess. I've been trying to get my films played in North Korea. Do you know that?
Well, that's something, man.
I'm having no luck. It's almost impossible to speak to anyone over there without getting a visa just to talk to someone. But I'm trying for it. I'd love to have my films play in North Korea and kind of break the regime down with cinema.
I was going to ask you, to get your films played places, like, what's like the festival circuit like out there?
It's really open. I mean, the festival circuit, I think, is just a waste of money, because there's so many films that are a bit. I mean, they can't possibly be able to watch every single film. So
definitely
I think
not.
So it's like, we'll take this one, or this one's got a good poster, this one's got a good trailer. So it's a bit like that. But now, because of Facebook and all that, I can literally get in contact. I mean, look at the way I've got in contact with you. I've been able to get into contact with so many different people from every different country, and they're just showing my movie from YouTube in cinemas or like conferences or halls. It's so easy to get your film shown around the world these days. So paying to submit your film to a festival is, it's kind of like an old thing to do. And film festivals don't really do anything for you, unless it's like a Hollywood film and you want to sell it. Other than that, you don't really need it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I never actually knew about those sort of things. I thought I'd ask your insight on that one.
Some of them, there's all sorts of ways to get your movie into film festivals. One is to do a workshop. If you pay some money to do a workshop with the film festival, obviously they're going to take your name down, and it's like, oh yeah, he's done a movie and he's done a workshop with us. Let's show his progression. So that's a good way of getting in with film. There's loads of tricks to get in with film festivals. It depends how much you want to play the game, type of thing. I've got no time for that anymore. I'm already supposed to be dead. I survived a house fire when I was little, so you've only got so much time in this life, and I really don't want to waste my time kissing ass.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I admire you out there doing your own thing.
Thanks.
People are so mired by your God is the Rotten Tomato meter, shit like that. People are so mired by what critics say, and but you got filmmakers like you out there who give no fucks what critics say. You just you don't get discouraged then, and not at all.
I've been in fist fights with film critics.
Oh wow!
I have, yeah. I've had a fucking complete blowout on American radio against like this panel of critics. My film screenings are fucking notorious. If there's a Q&A, there's bound to be like 20 film critics in the audience, all waiting for the Q&A to like get into a fight with me. It's quite something. It's exciting though. I had one of my pregnant played in this area called Essex in England, and a riot broke out.
Wow.
At a movie screening. I mean, that never happens.
No, never, man.
When I heard about that, I was, that's like a badge of honor to me, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Because I'm not saying you did what you set out to do, but it definitely touched some people. That's what you were going for. I'd imagine, to get a reaction out of these people and to make them think about some stuff.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was the pregnant movies, which was about their generation, the Facebook
Yeah.
and YouTube generation. So I guess they took offense to it, and
Oh.
but then again, it must have touched a nerve, like a nerve of truth, for them to get angry like that.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Sorry,
Sorry, man.
sorry, I'm so sorry.
Oh, the butthurt generation. It's but
Yeah,
yeah, I admire that because if you make a film, if you make this something you're passionate about,
yeah,
and you give no fucks, and people you get a reaction, like you do. Like we do a commentary show sometimes. We did Pink Flamingos, and this is a film that I knew none of the guys on the cast were gonna like.
yeah.
But I said, let's do it, because I'm going to get a reaction out of Pink Flamingos. And they still talk about it today. I was like, yeah, but did it get a reaction out of you guys? It's like, yeah? Like, okay. Became something to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Smart man. That's what you fucking do. You press as many buttons as you can, and you just to get a discussion, just to get a real heart-to-heart discussion with something.
Showing them something that they haven't seen. I mean,
Yeah,
I have a shame list of movies that I haven't seen that's longer than my arm that,
mm,
I need to get on that. But, I haven't seen everything, and a lot of folks haven't seen everything either,
yeah.
including, your style of filmmaking, which is, very guerrilla. It doesn't get more guerrilla style than that, man. Just filming regular people like that. And,
Oh yeah. I mean, Charlie's a kleptomaniac anyway. So we were going into he was stealing beer and he was stealing clothes. He was stealing drumsticks. He's actually stealing this for real. Well, he did the drumsticks. I made him buy in the end because I knew the owners of the store, so I made him buy the fucking drumsticks. But he was going to steal those as well. He was, that what you're seeing in the movie is him actually fucking stealing beer, just because he can. I love that about him at the same time, and the ghost scenes because I figure one thing that people don't really have their heads around is the fucking spirit world. Like voodoo and black magic and all that. I mean, that's what you see in the movie. Is we went to these ghost nights. That England is so fucking haunted, it's not even funny. Like where we live in East Midlands, it's fucking witch central. So many hangings happened here, and yeah, we went on like Ouija board nights, and we were talking to like dead child ghosts and things like that. There's still things out there that you can still press certain buttons that will get a reaction.
I mean, it's so cold there all the time. No wonder there's so many ghosts there.
Oh, you'd be fucked. You'd be so freaked out. Have you been to the UK?
No, I haven't. I want to. I have a lot of people out there I'd like to go visit. So,
Mm. Any particular place? What, London or?
oh well, I have I have a couple friends who are podcasters in Scotland, and my friend Philip, whose mother just passed. So sorry, brother. He lives in Sweden, and there's lots of people out there I'd like to go visit.
Oh, go to Scotland. Scotland's better than England. I love the
Okay.
Scottish. They're wild. They're like the Australians and the Germans. Yeah, they say anything. You'll love the accent as well. They're fucking rambunctious.
Well, I've learned that, man. I've hung out with a couple of them on here, unfortunately, not face to face, which I would love.
Yeah, yeah. I'll check it out. Yeah, let me know if you ever come over at some point. You gotta come through Nottingham to go to Scotland anyway. So, well, if you're into the death drive and ghosts and watching out of control kids watch Loon, it's coming
Okay.
out on Halloween. So I'd love to hear what the reaction is
Oh yeah, definitely.
from listeners.
One of them, one of them myself will write a review. I'm sure for Legion podcasts, and Yeah, I implore you guys as well to look for his film as well. Is Pregnant on
Yeah,
YouTube as
yeah.
well?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Pregnant came out in 2015. So, yeah, this is 2017.
Yes.
Yeah, proper psychedelic year.
Yeah, so go check out Pregnant now, as soon as you get off this thing, if you guys have the time. And on Halloween, go check out Loon. Uh, Support starving artists is very important, people. You know, it's we're all independents here at Legion Podcast, and we're talking to an independent filmmaker right now. And yeah, show them some support. That'd be amazing.
I eat baked beans on toast.
There ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
That's a universal thing, I think. You know.
And Marmite. You Americans don't like Marmite, do you?
I don't know what that is.
You had that on toast. Yeah, in the morning. Marmite on toast
Okay.
with beans.
But yeah. On the social medias, or tell the folks where they could find you, man.
Just Google me. I'm on Facebook. Yeah, just put in my name on Google and whatever the movie, Black Biscuit, Pregnant, Loon, full movie, it'll come straight up. I'm not hiding, so I'm out there.
Well, I gotta say, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully we could have you on a full show. You said sometime next year you'd be available, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'd be great, Gary. I'd love it.
All right, cool, man. Have a good day. Or
Yeah.
good night. I mean, it's nighttime where you are.
Yeah, yeah. Happy trails. See you guys.
Bye bye.